Welcome to the Indian Sun. I'm Indira Laisram. Today we discuss COVID-19 vaccination among women and children. I have with me Dr. Preeti Killen, the Director of Western Specialist Center and Director of MYOBG, also Senior Obstetrician and Gynecologist at Joanne Kerner Women's and Children's Hospital Sunshine. Dr. Vijay Lakshman is a Consultant Obstetrician at Royal Women's Hospital, Melbourne. Welcome to the show and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. I will probably start my question with Dr. Preeti. There's been a lot of studies, and one published in the Lancet says that fewer than 2 out of every million children died of COVID during the pandemic. So the question is, do children really need the vaccination and why?
COVID-19 is obviously new to this world. Does not differentiate and discriminate, between pregnant, non-pregnant, gender, and age, right? So now, because it's a new disease, a pandemic which the world had never experienced before, still a lot of queries, research is going on, right? So with regards to children, I think there are still a lot of recent developments and changes which are happening. And I think now the new, there has been new recommendations, not in Australia, but in Europe and other countries to vaccinate children, I think as old as the age of 12. So this is something which is still being researched, not in our country though. So, but as I said, that COVID-19, and especially now, as we now know that the new Delta strain is also affecting children. So, the research and the developments are going on, but I don't think in Australia we have reached on to that consensus to vaccinate children, under the age of 18. So with children, I'll be a little bit more conservative in my, in what I can recommend. But yes, definitely for women and pregnant women, we have all the guidelines from our college and recommendations on what we should be following.
Dr. Vijay, do you agree with that? Do you think that, there's less study and as a result of that, we haven't come up with this, really proper plan on vaccinating children?
Yes, well, I'm an obstetrician, but I can talk a little bit about what the evidence is and what are the difficulties in conducting any research when it comes to involving either pregnant women or children. To recruit or to do a study in adult population itself is challenging, but compared to getting ethical approval or doing any studies in pregnant women or children, it's extremely difficult. Any new drug or new medication or new vaccination is generally tried in adults first. And once it is proven to be safe, then the next step would be for children and for pregnant women. The complexity is it's a fast evolving kind of a disease with a pandemic. So we don't have that kind of a time. So we need to implement and make use of the available information. There is a recent 3 days ago, the CDC in US has released some information as to the safety of this medication between 12 and 17 years old. But again, the numbers are small and we need to interpret them cautiously. But as far as today, there are no published reports on how safe it is for children under 12. So I'm aware that in some of the Middle Eastern countries, the vaccination has been given for kids as young as 14 to 16, but it is definitely not recommended in Australia and not in many of the other countries.
So, Dr. Preeti, when we say children, what is the age strata and where do adolescents fit in? Like if at all this vaccine needs to happen, yeah.
So as Vijay said that, recently, there have been studies about, which are still, it's just not, we do not know what's happening. But definitely, vaccine for children, adolescents is not recommended in Australia. This is what I would emphasize on. And again, our focus and radar is out of treating adolescent with any sort of infection. Obviously, different problems. And we see many adolescents with other problems as they hit puberty. But with this regards, I think I would have less knowledge and, to answer the question with relation to COVID-19 and adolescents and children.
Okay. All right. So, in terms of vaccination for pregnant women, we've had people are talking about inequity. I mean, some people are aware, but they're not having access to it. Why is that happening?
Yeah, look, because this has been, again, a recent sort of recommendation from in Australia. I think on the 7th of June, it's our college and ATAGI, which is the Australian Immunization Group, advisory group. They did propose a recommendation to strongly immunize all pregnant women or people planning pregnancy. But as we know that we've had shortage of vaccine, and especially it's the Pfizer vaccine. Hence, I feel that the availability is still not there if we want to recommend all women planning pregnancy or pregnant at any gestation. They should be actually vaccinated, but I think we're struggling with the numbers here. And I do agree that convincing the population is not easy when there have been so many myths and so much of, different sort of opinions by political leaders, which has been going on. People are scared. So, look, yes, I think there's still a shortage, but I would say that pregnant women and women planning pregnancy should also be given a priority for, availability of these vaccines. I'm sure, Vijay, you agree with this.
Yes, it is an ongoing issue. Today, in fact, I saw 6 women in the clinic who were really keen, which is completely different to how it was even 2 weeks ago, when the RANSCOG or when it released the statement that it is safe for pregnant women to have vaccination. And in fact, we recommend pregnant women to have vaccination. The uptake was not that much, and there was a lot of hesitancy from women. However, in the last few fortnight or so, women, in fact, are showing interest and they want to get vaccinated, but unfortunately, the availability has been an issue. And also, it's something to do with the recommendation only for Pfizer at the minute, and there is no clear guideline as to whether they can actually get the AstraZeneca or not. That also is making it a little difficult to access the vaccination, because as of AstraZeneca is more easily available compared to Pfizer, but the recommendation is that they can only have Pfizer. So I think that has got an impact as well.
So the reason, I'll just add on to this, that, obviously we know that, with all the myths and all the controversies going on, it was finally, AstraZeneca was still recommended for women, for people, for the population over 40, right? We know that pregnant women would largely fall under the age of 40. So the recommendation is for Pfizer vaccine. And one of the reasons for that is pregnancy is a state which is a thrombotic state. It increases the risk of clot formation, by many folds. So we would rather, we would recommend Pfizer vaccine, which is known to have less thrombotic complications than the AstraZeneca. And then again, here comes the availability of the Pfizer, as Vijaya said. So I think these are all the dilemmas going on.
What is the kind of misinformation that is being bombarded, and a lot of pregnant women are getting scared of getting the vaccine because, there is a lot of misinformation floating around.
One of the misinformations, for women even planning pregnancy, I think, which came out, and I remember people coming to my clinic a couple of months ago and saying that I've really heard it decreases fertility. Now, this is not a live virus. It is the mRNA, the AstraZeneca, the Pfizer is a mRNA. So it does not go and change your genomic structure and affect fertility. So I think now we've had a few studies, and I can really, I can counsel women and tell them that, look, this will not delay in your fertility, or you do not have to defer being pregnant if you've had the vaccine, like, we recommend with some of the live vaccines. So this was one of them. And Vijay, you can tell about the other.
Yeah. A couple of them which I have heard in the clinics and in general public talking to women of reproductive age is, will it increase the miscarriage rate? Which apparently somewhere they have read. And again, it's a myth. And we know that there is a good study to show that no, it does not increase the miscarriage rate. The only thing so there is good evidence for no increase in miscarriage, no increase in preterm birth, no increase in any neonatal outcomes. In fact, beneficial because the antibodies are passed on to the neonate. And there are some studies that 2 weeks later, the antibodies were still present. The only thing, of course, which we can't answer is, yes, is there going to be any effect 18 years down the lane? We do not know. We do not know the answer for that because this disease is new and so is the vaccine. But apart from that, rest of the immediate outcomes are all positive. And I think we can safely reassure women about the immediate ones, but obviously the long-term ones, we have to go back and compare it with other vaccines and reassure them that, look, all those mRNA vaccines have been safe. And so this also is going to be the same.
Yeah, and there was a large study actually published in the New England Journal of Medicine, and that included 35,000 women in US. I think between the dates of December 2020 and February 2021, they were pregnant, and they had the vaccine. There was no increased risk of miscarriage, stillbirth, preterm labor, as Vijaya mentioned. So look, we can largely convince women now, but of course, it's just, it will take time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and one of the questions that people are asking is also, if a pregnant woman gets vaccinated, does the protection also pass on to the unborn child?
So as Vijaya said, that it does, because they have seen antibodies in the cord blood, so it does. And as it is not a live virus, so it will not cross the placenta and affect the baby and cause congenital malformations. But yes, there has been seen that it increases antibody levels, and there is some evidence that it can cause protection to the unborn child. Yes.
Okay. So what is your advice in general to women, for pregnant women, Dr. Vijaya?
I tell them in the last at least few weeks here in Australia that, see, 1 year ago, the advice would have been, we don't know, we don't have enough data to say whether it is safe or not. And we didn't have many cases locally. So it's probably not to go ahead and have the vaccine unless you're traveling to areas where it is high risk and it is very dependent on what you want. However, the current recommendation is we have emerging data which is abundant and clear that it is safe in pregnancy to have the mRNA vaccine, which is the Pfizer, which is available in Australia. And in fact, it is recommended that pregnant women should have it. Unfortunately, we are not in a position as an obstetrician or as a body of obstetricians representing RANSCOP that we can't prioritize women and pregnant women and give it to them like how we give flu and whooping cough. But hopefully that's being looked into. And in few months' time, if we can say that, yes, pregnant women are at a slightly higher risk to get the disease, to actually have more severe disease if they get infected. So they should be given priority, would be the step forward. So I would strongly recommend women to go and have it if they can actually access it.
Mm-hmm. I would give one more advice is that, women who are pregnant and who do not want to have the vaccine, at least use, the general measures of, hand sanitization, social distancing, wear masks, and also, opportunities of working from home should, and traveling, less traveling for those women should really be strongly recommended. If you don't want to have the vaccine, at least take all the other safety precautions. As Vijaya said, that COVID-19 in pregnancy is has much more, it is a bad disease, results in more hospitalizations and ICU admissions because of the low respiratory compromise in a pregnant woman.
Mm-hmm. And just wanted to know, in your practice, in your experience, do you see a vaccine hesitancy among pregnant women?
Yes, I definitely see. I will leave it to Preeti to see what she has felt in the last few months, or maybe less than few months. Yes, there is a lot of hesitancy, and it's very surprising that the hesitancy is not dependent on their educational or socioeconomic status. It is very varied, and some people want to have it and some people do not want to have it. Then the other thing which we could do is, after the baby is born, we can say that it is safe to have the vaccination during breastfeeding as well. So if they are really worried and if they do not want to have during the pregnancy, it's okay to have in breastfeeding, and reassuring them that this vaccine is safe during breastfeeding is another thing that we could look into. Yes. So the answer is yes, there is great hesitancy, and with time it should get better. But at the minute, yes, people are quite hesitant.
Dr. Preeti, you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, so look, I work, I do an antenatal clinic in a busy hospital, Joan Kerner Hospital. So it's again a high risk clinic which I run. And prior to the recommendations on the 7th of June, we didn't even have an option of, in the antenatal questionnaire about the COVID vaccine. But now that has been instituted. And look, there is definitely a hesitancy in 99% of women, so, and it's hard, it's hard to convince women at this stage. We can give them all the data. But again, as Vijaya said, that most of them do ask me that what will be the effect in 18 years, and look, I don't think, and they're all aware that nobody can answer that question, right? So there is definitely a hesitancy, but we are strongly now recommending women. But again, we leave it up to them. If they do not want to have it, then at least, just do the other measures, be careful, and again, you can have it after you've had the baby, as Vijaya said. So it is absolutely recommended, even postnatally in women breastfeeding, may have some level of protection to the baby as well.
That's very good advice. And last question for the two of you. Going forward, we know that the virus is here to stay. So what is your advice and your last message?
Yeah, maybe I can go first. Advice is, look, there is enough evidence which is stating that it is safe and it is better to have the vaccine. Maybe there are some side effects, but it is better than having the COVID-19, especially when you're pregnant and having all the complications for you and the baby. So if it is available, please take it. That would be my advice or take-home message.
Dr. Preeti?
Yeah, look, I would say the same. That look, this is going to continue, right? This is not going away immediately. We would have more mutations and more strains coming through, as we know that we had in Melbourne itself. We had got rid of it, and now we're back in lockdown again. So all safety measures, precautions should be taken, and especially if you're planning pregnancy or you're pregnant. And yes, I think the mentality will change, but it will take some time.
Thank you so much for your valuable inputs. I hope your message goes through to the community and everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Indira.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, Vijay.
Bye.
Bye.